Daniel Day-Lewis recently said that he was retiring from acting to the surprise of many. Often he's said to be one of the greatest actors alive today, and with 3 Academy Awards, he's certainly lived up to much of his potential. But how did Daniel Day-Lewis grow such an incredible reputation?
I killed the last honorable man 15 years ago. Since then... You've seen his portrait downstairs?
Day-Lewis's father was Cecil Day-Lewis, who was the UK's Poet Laureate from 1968 until his death in 1972. His mother was Jill Balkan, a radio and TV actress, and her father was Michael Balkan, a very prominent film producer, responsible for making Ealing Studios one of the most successful British studios of its era, the 40s and 50s. Obviously, Day-Lewis had parents in the arts, and he excelled at the National Youth Theatre in the 70s, but still, he applied for a 5-year apprenticeship as a cabinet maker. He was turned down because of lack of experience, and it makes you think, how many cabinet makers out there could be really brilliant actors? Instead of a career in carpentry, which is still one of his hobbies, he went to the Bristol Old Vic Theatre School, where he was taught quite traditional ways of acting. Ultimately, and famously, he adopted a very method approach to acting, essentially becoming the characters he was playing, often staying in role off set, often for long periods of time, sometimes, it seems, for the entire duration of a film's shoot.
I think that whole thing, which tends to be spoken about on my behalf, because I try not to talk about it too much, but that whole thing takes on a mystique. We go to these great lengths to try and create a world for ourselves. And within that world, we try and create an understanding of the lives that we're expressing in that world. And for me, that's where the pleasure of the work is.
I can relate to this. You probably don't realise, but I'm actually a very sarcastic person. I've just been pretending not to be for the last 20 years, and you'd never know. Day-Lewis really broke out in 1985 with My Beautiful Laundrette, a film that addresses interracial, homosexual relationships, and an adaptation of E.M. Forster's A Room with a View. After that, he played a Czech surgeon in The Unbearable Lightness of Being, so he naturally learnt Czech, and stayed in character for the entire shoot. Obviously. It's little things like that that can build quite a mystique around an actor. He again refused to break character in My Left Foot, and the crew had to move him around in his wheelchair off-screen and hand-feed him. It obviously worked for him because he bagged his first Oscar.
Looks can be deceiving.
That sort of thing, although it clearly works for him, is, I think to most people, probably kind of weird. In 1989, during a production of Hamlet, Daniel Day-Lewis had a breakdown on stage, claiming that he had seen a ghost of his own father where the ghost of Hamlet's father was. He never worked on stage again. I think this, as well as his reasoning for quitting acting completely, being that phantom thread overwhelmed him with sadness, shows just how connected emotionally he is to the parts he plays. For the last of the Mohicans, Day-Lewis learnt to live off the land where his character would have lived. For in the name of the father, he ate prison rations and kept himself in a cell. For the boxer, he trained so hard he apparently got to the point where he could have turned professional. You can see how all of this is a bit bizarre, and that's what gets people interested. He's a phenomenal actor, but it's those sorts of stories that create a legend. 5 years passed between Day-Lewis starring in The Boxer and Gangs of New York, in which time he seems to have basically done other things. He reportedly moved to Italy and, well, did what he wanted. This, I think, is probably what makes him so fascinating and so consistent in his craft. He's never pursued the big bucks. He's never done a project, it seems to me, because it would be good for him. He chooses the projects he works on because he finds merit in those projects. It's almost as simple as the law of scarcity. Day-Lewis has never been overexposed. No one's ever said, "I'm sick of seeing this guy in everything." Because he's in less, and because he's so good in so few films, those performances are all the more noteworthy. Since There Will Be Blood in 2007, he's done 4 films. His reputation has been forged from his incredible ability and his dedication. His legend has come from his stringent and often bizarre to the outsider methods, and films featuring him being very few and far between. If a film features him, you can bet it's worth a watch, not only to see him act, but because he thought it worthy of him doing so. This is all I've got to say about Daniel Day-Lewis. The video content is over. Taking a bit of inspiration from the man himself, I'm going to stop doing As an Aside as a weekly series, instead picking it up when I have an idea that I don't think should be a longer, more in-depth vlog. Instead, from now on, I'll be focusing more on longer vlogs and more on bizarre summaries, but without a schedule. I'm doing this because, having done As an Aside as a weekly thing, I can tell that maybe not now, but in the future, it will become a commitment to make videos. I don't want that to happen. I want to make videos because I have something to say. I want the production quality of these videos to go up, not down. So, in short, you'll be seeing a little less of me, but you will be seeing me soon. So, see you soon.
Say it, say it.
I've abandoned my child.
Say it louder, say it louder.
I've abandoned my child!